Sorry, everyone. I forgot to mention we have 40-minute time limits. I got cut off, so if you were watching part one of the first day of Sukkot, the first high day of Sukkot study, welcome back. If not, please go back to the part one to get the full context of this study when it gets uploaded to YouTube. So I just want to let you know that kind of cut me off. So I'm going to reread what I was reading, just for people that might have not seen the part one. Okay, so this is dealing with the tithes, okay, in Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22. Again, I'm reading from the English Septuagint. You shall tithe a tenth of all the produce of your seed, your plants, the fruit of your field year by year, and you shall eat it in the place which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose to have his name called there. So this is talking about the temple mentioned in 2 Chronicles 7, chapter 7. You can look that up for yourself. King Solomon mentions that Yahuwah chose that place for his name to be there. Okay, so now in modern day, in the Melchizedek priesthood, Yahusha says that wherever two or three are gathered, he is there in the midst. But what I would explain to is the best thing we could possibly do is give our tithes to the homeless or the widow that is with us, and and basically do as best as we can memorialize it in our wherever we are gathered together. So I mean that's the best way I could possibly put it. The way you could apply it modern day. You shall bring the tithe of your grain, of your wine, of your oil. Obviously we're not farmers, so we would have to use money for food. The firstborn of your herd and of your flock, and that you may learn to fear Yahuwah your Elohim always. Now that's interesting. I wonder if that's in the Masoretic text. Learn to fear Yahuwah your Elohim always. Okay. All right. I was just checking. All right. Okay. Verse 24 here says, and if the journey be too far for you, now this is key, especially for us that are nowhere, even though it doesn't really matter, even if we were in the land, there's no temple there or anything, so it really wouldn't matter. But back then, there were certain people that couldn't make the journey to the temple. And if the journey be too far for you and you are not able to bring them because the place is far from you, which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose to have his name called there, because Yahuwah thy Elohim will barak you, then you shall sell them for money. And you shall take the money in your hands, and you shall go to the place which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose, and you shall give them money for whatsoever your being shall desire, for oxen, for sheep, or for wine, or you shall lay it out on strong drink. And actually, this is a topic that I really want to do a study very soon. I don't believe strong. This is just my opinion. It's not a big deal, but I believe strong drink actually referring to strong wine. I've been looking into the Hebrew of this word. I think it's shakar, and it's actually translated in the King James as strong wine. So that's just a topic that's really not pertaining to this, but I just mainly wanted to put it out there that possibly it's not referring to hard liquor. That's all I wanted to say. Or on whatsoever your being may desire, that you shall eat there before Yahuwah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice in your house. So this is a feast we should be happy, rejoice, be glad. Okay, so we don't appear before him empty-handed like we spoke about in part one. We bring our tithes to the place that Yahuwah chooses. Now, like I said, the best thing you can do is wherever you are for keeping tabernacles is, bring a little money, like we said in part one, and choose to spend it on whether food, or if you have a work that is being done in the assembly that you're congregating with, you could use that money, Yahuwah has baruched you with, to give to them, to support them if they're doing a work for the Father or for the Son. So that's a way you can use it to not appear before him empty-handed. And then obviously the tithe, would be for the widow, the stranger, the poor person that might be in your assembly. So I just wanted to explain that. But verse 26 really brought it out to me, basically, whatever your being shall desire, to basically rejoice and be happy. This is a feast that we're supposed to be glad and rejoice before the Father and before the Son. So that's what I really got out of that verse, verse 26. And the last one I have here is 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 5 to 6, which says, "From the day when I brought up my people out of the land of Egypt, I chose no city of all the tribes of Yashrael to build a house that my name should be there. Neither did I choose a man to be a leader over my people Yashrael, but I chose Jerusalem that my name should be there. And I chose David to be over my people Yashrael." And then it goes to say, "And it came into the heart of David, my father." So this is King Solomon speaking here. "To build a house for the name of Yahuwah, Elohim of Yashrael. But Yahuwah said to my father David, whereas it came into my heart to build a house for my name," came into your house to build a house for my name, "you did well that it came into your heart. Nevertheless, you shall not build the house for your son, who shall come forth out of your loins. He shall build the house for my name." So Yahuwah is saying, not you, because all the wars David was in, Yahuwah wanted his son to build it for him. "And Yahuwah has confirmed this word which he spoke. I am raised up in the room of my father David, and I sit upon the throne of Yashrael, as Yahuwah said. I have built the house for the name of Yahuwah, Elohim of Yashrael, and I have set there the ark, in which is the covenant of Yahuwah, which he made with Yashrael." So the reason I included this was, thought it was very important to include, to show that that's where every time it says in the Tanakh where his name should dwell there, Yahuwah chose that temple, which is not standing right now. So all we can do is best way we can is fellowship with our brothers and sisters wherever we are, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in Yahushua's name, he is there among us. Just remember that. The Father and Son are there among you wherever you are. So that's what I would like to end with. And if my brother Dennis or my sister Shoshana, if there was anything I might have forgot to tell the viewers and listeners, go ahead. Let me know if there's anything you would like to add. All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully this encouraged you to actually, especially if there's any Christians out there, to actually want to keep the appointed times of Yahuwah. They're his, not the Jews. I will be sharing some stuff in a future date on, that all believers of the Messiah should be keeping the law, and that without the law, there's no mercy, and there's no need for a Savior, and there is no need for a body of Messiah. So I'll be sharing a video that I found that is pretty interesting. It's called Law and Grace for Dummies. So it pretty much breaks down basically the whole Glad Tidings Besorah message. And without the law, there can be no Glad Tidings message of the Messiah dying for you, because there would be no need of the Messiah, because without the law, there's no sin. So hopefully that is something that you're going to look into, study about, search for yourselves. Don't believe me. Read the scriptures for yourselves. That's what I try to always say. But hopefully this was a way to encourage you, and this message has baruched you to actually want to read the whole Bible, the Old Testament, and realize that all the things in the Old Testament are still valid for believers in Yahushua the Messiah. So thank you for joining us today. And for our brothers and sisters that are going to be keeping tabernacles, have a great Feast of Tabernacles. Shalom. Right.